Van and Andy. So add to that, again, this is all about practice. And what I will say is, when we do look at your videos, to your point, Jimmy, hey, I got my notes. We know you get notes. We know this.
Oh, okay.
We know country products are new to you. You guys are just not starting with country. So we're not really looking for that. We're just looking to really see, hey, how were you really starting from the first video you sent to the very last video you sent 4 weeks later? How have you progressed? How have you,
Okay.
are you getting better? Or are you really staying the same? I don't know. Have you guys seen like the comments that we put in there? Christy, Jimmy, have you seen the comments I left for you guys?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to give you some advice, just little tips and tricks. I'm watching the video and I'm seeing some of the things saying. We just want to make sure that, hey, one, that okay, we're talking about this product correctly. You know, we're selling this product correctly, or hey, maybe try saying it this way, maybe putting this particular spin on it, just to make it that much easier for you. Because like anything else, you know, being in sales, and I'm sure our district leaders and anybody to talk about this, sometimes we can probably talk ourselves out of some certain situations. So we're just trying to make things a little bit more concise for you, just try to help you along the way, right? Just give you some food for thought as you do these videos. And again, it's just about making you better, right? To Andy's point, you know, taking 1,000 shots a day. Whether you submit the video on the very first time you do it, or you submit it on the 20th time you do it. By the 20th time, if you were to do that, of course, you've got more time, you're a little bit more comfortable doing it, and it's all about, you know, that feedback. Take that feedback for what it is. And if you have any questions about any of the feedback, hey, just feel free to reach out to one of us. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you and walk through that. But again, it's about practice. So, Christy, I know you'd rather be in front of 100 people than doing that one particular video. But I promise you, the more of those one particular videos you do, it'll make you that much stronger when you get in front of those hundreds of people. So just think about it in that way, and then hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier for you as you get ready to do videos starting in over the next couple of weeks. Back to you, man.
Yeah, really good, Courtney. Thanks. So I feel like we've covered that pretty well. I appreciate Van you chiming in there on that information. Hopefully, you guys find a safe space here on all of that, to where you're going through this, you're just trying to get better and learning. Vincent, I'm going to give you 2 seconds here before you have to come off of mute. So go ahead and prepare yourself, because I'm going to call on you so you can go ahead and get those nerves out of the way. But I was sitting here this morning getting ready for the meeting, and I got a couple videos in from Vincent, so I haven't even had a chance to look at them. But it made me curious as you're going through all of this. What if it worked well for you? What if it was challenging? How many takes did you do? I'm just curious how that whole process went and what kind of feedback you would have from that. So there's your little introduction, time to think a little bit, but I was really excited when I saw your videos come in. So you can give us very timely feedback.
Well, I'll tell you, Andy, what was more difficult was actually the fact that I actually forgot. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I got to do these videos. And I went back and I was like, I saw the meeting, it reminded me. I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and get this knocked out, get everything set up. But the videos themselves weren't difficult to me. It was reviewing them, because the first one I sent in, I didn't even realize that you can review it. Ben was going to score it and I can redo it. I thought you had to do it and then send it in. So yeah, dumb on my part, but I figured out after that. It took a couple takes on the next ones, but it was more because I was reviewing it and I was like, that's not what I wanted to say. It wasn't so much how I was saying it, it's just what I said. I wasn't using the correct terminology, or was telling them exactly what it is they or that we were supposed to be discussing. I was going off of the other things and not staying on the subject. So that was the hardest part for me. But doing that, interacting and doing a role play with myself on there, I just go into my mind that, hey, there really is someone sitting across from me. You'll see him. When you watch, you'll see me do a lot of hand gestures, like I'm actually talking to someone like this, pausing, waiting for them to reply back, and just getting myself that mental state on there. So talking about it was easy. It was just making sure I stayed on task now, because once I start going, I want to go cover everything. So I go one part of the policy, I want to go next. So I had to stop and keep going back, or making sure that the introduction wasn't and yeah and no. So so just getting that out of the way. When I realized it actually scores you for that, and that's what I went back and started. So it was great sense.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to look at them, and I'm curious when you see the feedback, what you think on all that too. So that would be good. Great points there. One, the first time you didn't realize that you could adjust it or redo it or whatever, so you just did it and sent it in. So I'm guessing that one will be probably pretty interesting in a good way too, because you just went off the cuff, you did it, and you sent it. And that's probably the ones where you just were introducing yourself to me after the meet and greet and all that. So that would be good. Presenting information is a lot different because your mind plays funny tricks on you when you're going through there trying to sound the best way that you can in a video. But I think that really goes to the point of, hey, how many times have I gone through this? I do realize I do the ums and my transitions and going through that. Can I be concise in what I need to share in this and not branch off into a lot of different ways? And you mentioned the scoring. So I wanted to touch on this point too. I know we've talked about it before, but you can go through and see how you are scored on that, and AI will come through and have a list of feedback for you. Has everybody seen that as they've gone through the videos, virtual hand? Have you been able to get the AI feedback from that? I saw a couple of thumbs there. Okay, so good. So historically, what I have seen, and I don't want to, ruin it or make it better for someone or somebody else, but I've had people that have literally taken a script and read it and never looked at the camera and scored very high from a knowledge standpoint and all that kind of stuff. And there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. AI is really kind of looking for some very specific things on communication and points and all that kind of stuff. So you can get good grades on that. It may be a little bit different than what your trainer would say as far as, hey, maybe think about doing it this way, or try to look at the camera or smile a little bit or be personal or things like that. So just remember, if you're going for a really good grade from AI, you may get it, but it may be different than what you get back from us, from Courtney and myself.
I will say one of the things that did surprise me was with that AI way it scored, it was monitoring the speed in which you talk when I presented. And one of the times it was like I was talking too fast, and I'm like, this is how I talk normally. I'm like, they actually slowed it down for this. No, I'm like, if I'm sitting across from a customer or a client, I would be speeding this up probably a little more, but I get what it was trying to do. It wants to make sure that you're able to go ahead, convey the information correctly and actually articulate everything. So it can be a little touch and go on that, but other than that, it helped out a lot because it pointed out some things that I definitely didn't notice about myself.
Yeah, that's really good feedback too. Speed is a big thing. Sometimes when we're nervous, right, and we're in that meeting, we can tend to talk a little bit faster. And so I think more than anything, I would just look at it to get an idea. I didn't realize that it was going up that far into the red of what I was communicating. Sometimes you just want to get the activity done, right, and go through that and say things. So all of those feedback points can be really beneficial to helping us go through and get better at what we do. So thanks for your feedback there, Vincent. I'm excited to see your videos. I'm going to ask one more question, and Stephen, because Van mentioned you on there, and because we like Van so much, you're going to be the guy and you have your camera on and you always have a smile ready. So as he talks through trying to figure out using Allego and how you go through and do this, give me a little bit of your experience with it, what you found helpful or challenging or any of that stuff. And I'll let you have the floor.
All right, thanks. And good morning to everyone. Yes, what I found challenging, I think, is just something that's always been instilled in me is seeing myself and listening to myself. It's not really getting in front of somebody and talking, but being able to break down where the weaknesses are, where my strengths are, and then taking that and, fixing it. It's no different when I handle objections or being able to relay messages and so forth and just recording myself. It's always hard. And the feedback, I've only done two because I was nervous that I was going to overload everybody by sending more and more. And that's what I contacted Van for. I'm like, I thought that I read into it that you can send it, but I'm like, yeah, if I send 5 or 6 of them, Angie, she's going to have to read every single one. And I think it'd be fine, but it might take up somebody's time. But he said, just keep on doing it. So now I know I have no problem with it. And reading the comments from the AI, it kind of goes back to Vincent. It was kind of funny. He said he was speaking too fast. Well, Vincent, it said that I paused too much, that I was talking too slow, that maybe I didn't understand terms, but I always was under the impression of my personal development books is just sometimes pauses allows them to being able to relate or asking them, does it make sense before moving on? And sometimes, like now, it might bring them in a little bit, so they listen a little bit more and think it's a little more important. But that's just my learning, and I feel the AI is very been wonderful in telling me that maybe I lack a little bit of terminology, so I just talk it as upon myself to maybe go over some of the classes that talk about term or relates in general. So besides the little small synopsis they have, because maybe it will allow me to become a little bit more familiarized, or should, and be able to explain and for them to understand where I'm coming from. So I've been taking that initial, I've just been taking that, as what it's worth, a grain of salt, right? So our initiative to do that be the better word, but, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've taken from it, and feel that it can help me overall, and I will be able to explain that into a good delivery that will hopefully, like talk about Christy being at 100 people, maybe I could be in front of 50 people, and my ratio will be a lot better as far as flow of the team. So yeah, and it should do good on 100, but that's my thought process.
Yeah, well, it's really good, and I appreciate your openness and honesty with all that stuff. I do think as you go through, you should do as many videos as you can, because Angie loves getting all kinds of videos. So I think that everybody who's in the southern region should go through and do as many as they can. Everybody should be at the top of the leaderboard, because we love nothing more than to go through the Allego videos and to see everything that you're doing. So she would be the first one to say, send them in.
You know, Andy, if I don't mind to bottleneck off of that, I did see some score points on there. So having those goals really pushes me forward. I feel that I'm going to take advantage of that, and we'll see where we are at the end of this contest.
Okay, well, that's a great segue then into this next slide. For those of you who are competitive, I know Steven's not competitive at all. Like, he doesn't care at all about this screen. Like he just said, like he's very happy to not be in first at all. I think it's really important to kind of be motivated that way. So I know that Scott is on this call, and Scott is our resident swag expert here in the home office. And so we have some pretty cool things that can go out to you if you sit at the top of this leaderboard. And so not only do you get points for the assigned activities that you get each week, but you get points for the meetings that you can do here today, and the one that we had last week, and the optional activities that you have too. So if there is something that you can do it. And if you're competitive, go through and get it all done. And let's see how many people we can get up there tied for first place in all of that. And so we want you guys to do well and to utilize this. And so I'm glad, Stephen, that you talked about being competitive and going through that. That was the whole idea with the leaderboard, because we figure you don't really get into this job without having some sort of desire to be the best at what you do. And so to see your numbers up there. So again, like Josh said, this was last updated on the 10th. And so they're not current. So we can all just pretend that you are in first place with the most possible points, because we can't tell at this point. So go out there and get it done, and get those practice videos in, and continue to get better and better on it. Okay. So I know there's been a ton of chat activity, and I haven't had a ton of availability to my chat box. Courtney, how are we doing on that? Are there any questions that have come in that we need to address at this point that haven't been? It looks like a lot of that has been answered by Josh on the backside.
Yes, I'll take care of it. You're good to go.
Okay. All right. Any other questions that we have from you guys, from application to, I know that there was some apps and using it on your phone. It looks like that was answered. What other questions do you have that we can answer while we're here? Because we're here for your benefit. We want you to get off to the fastest start possible, to get out there and start selling and meeting people so that you can hit Country Club. I mean, that's our goal. We want you to win Country Club. We want you to get off really quick right away and to be able to get that fast start and get your, career headed in the right direction early on. Okay, so I see that hand. Steven, go ahead. Was that just okay?
I would like to have a better understanding that when I was watching the preliminary videos, it talked about recording yourself, and I see them walking around instead of just sitting in an office and doing it on their phone. Is that something that is important, doing it while you're walking, or having a different vibe? Is that something with, you know, how things are evolving with talking to people? Does it seem like you'd want to be in a enclosed setting? So I was kind of mixed on those type of feelings. It was going both ways. I'm like, oh, should I start walking, start talking to Angie with my leg in the background? You know? I wasn't really sure if you elaborated. It'd be greatly appreciated.
That's awesome. So I think that that initial video is probably something that is done by Allego in general, going through and showing the capacity and capabilities that you have in using your phone and going and doing those videos. I think for your specific situation, I probably wouldn't be walking down the road with a client. You know, you're going to be sitting in front of your computer with your information in there. So I would say it's safe to be sitting in your office in front of your computer doing it that way. But we can talk to Josh about getting extra points about going through that and walking down the street and trying to concentrate on that. I always laugh at people that are trying to do some kind of video and make it seem like, you know, they're doing this and doing something else and they can multitask and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, you can do what you want to do, but I would say for the purpose of getting better at a client meeting, you're going to be sitting at your desk and having conversations that way. Would you agree, Courtney?
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. I definitely would. I just put a little reminder for Steven in the chat. Just don't do it while you're driving. I promise you, we've seen videos, and I mean, we know how liability works, but just be smart. You know what you got to do.
Yeah, it's even better when somebody's doing their liability limits in the car as they're driving, and I'm like, okay, so that 250, 500 is going to be used really quick because you're trying to do this driving down the road, and what are they going to say about whose responsibility it is because you're recording a video as you're going down the road trying to do this. So funny. Back to you, Steven.
Yeah, I don't know if this really relates in this particular group form, and I haven't really went this far with Van yet. We are going to be meeting, so I probably was going to touch on this topic. When I did see that video, and I know some of the social sites that were allowed to get on and so forth, do you know of or anybody, instead of posting, hey, for a Country Financial, that they would do like small little skits like that, talking in the background and so forth, just to get a good vibe, like, oh, I think I could relate to this guy.
Yeah, so we actually had our big corporate event in Dallas this February. We had a panel of people who were using different social platforms to be able to get their business out there. And some people were very big on making videos and putting them to Facebook or other things. Obviously, they have to be compliant and approved corporately and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to give you what works and what doesn't because I don't understand that. But I know that there's a guy, Travis Lutmer, is that what his name is, Courtney? Is that
Travis Lutmer?
Yeah, Travis Lutmer. He's out on the West Coast, Luttmer. He walks around with a microphone all the time. Like he has one and he's constantly recording different things. He'll go into coffee shops and he'll interview people and then he'll throw out to all of his contacts, hey, this is a fantastic spot right here downtown. Go in and tell me what your favorite drink is. And so he's trying to do a lot to encourage growth in local business as a local business owner himself. And so it kind of works that way too. There's somebody here in Illinois that does a lot of things with their office staff in different settings and they make them goofy and stuff like that. So if you're creative like that, Steven, and love to get involved with that and record yourself, and like more power to you. And there's lots of different things that you can do to drive business. So I would probably be not the best person to talk about that other than what I just said, but there's lots of people out there who do a great job of it.
Thanks, Andy and Courtney.
Yeah, you're welcome. What other questions do we have? I'm not going to keep you more than 7 minutes because I want you to enjoy your time and I hate going over on meetings. So Jeremy, nice to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. The camera was being funky at the start there, but I guess my question is, I know there's the optional ones that you can go in there and do, and I've got a couple that are setting pending right now that I'm going to try to probably jump on this weekend. But is because I think it was mentioned that we're part of like the last part of the pilot, the trial for this sort of thing. Is there a library of other ones, maybe not even necessarily for like the leaderboard and the score and all that, but where you could just go through and kind of practice, just get that, even the AI feedback, the trainer feedback, like is there just practicing those scripts, giving you, I guess, generating ideas? Because I could just sit here and be like, okay, I guess I'm going to talk to myself in the camera about, you know, whatever about the keeper on an auto policy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if there's like a existing library, if that makes sense.
That's a really great question. And I don't know how in depth we built this out besides the activities that we have. Josh and Scott are on here, and so they can throw it in the chat if we have more activities that are there in the library. But you're right, this has been kind of an entry pilot program and going through and doing that. I'm sure we'll continue to do that. Josh, why don't you go ahead? I see your hand.
Sure. Thanks, Andy. We were gonna kind of wrap Allego up and have this pilot kind of end really soon, but we've actually got a license with them, so we're gonna have them here. So your license started in a month. You'll have 3 months of a license to do whatever recordings, re-recording that you want to do. I'm in Allego. If you want to, we don't have a whole lot of other activities in there right now. I'm sure we'll be working on some more here pretty soon. But if you have one that you wanted to do and send over to the learning specialist to give you some feedback, there's that create button on your homepage on the top left. Click on that, record a video. You can then run it over to your field learning specialist. They'll be able to look at that, give you feedback on that as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And I would say too, you have some things in your new rep training, like your client commercial or different activities that you go into breakout rooms for. If you want more practice on that, take what you're already going through in new rep training and you can practice that with the videos and send that in too. I mean, we will never turn away videos from people trying to go through and get better and do that. So that's a great question. Okay, I think we have time for one more question, and then we'll just kind of wrap this up. And it's a great point that Josh said. You have access for 100 days, so you're not done with just the first month. You can continue to use that and practice that. So, do we have any other questions, thoughts, comments? Jimmy?
So what happens after the 100 days?
I can't tell you that.
Gotcha.
Because then I'd have to, it's top secret. No,
Gotcha.
yeah, your license is good for 100 days. And so after 100 days, you just want to practice without recording yourself.
Okay.
Or by then you'll be up and running so much to where
That's
Christine and others will be able to do stuff. So
Okay.
it's really for that first 3 months lift for you.
Thank you.
I would have made other jokes, but I know that you know karate, that football pads weren't enough for you. And so I'm not going to joke too much because that would go well for me. So, okay. Anybody else have a question as we get ready to head into this next part and wrap it up? Don't want to cut anybody else off. If you have questions, throw it in your chat or reach out to Courtney, Angie, or myself, and we'll be glad to help you. Again, just remember, you have 100 days, you have 3 months to kind of go through all this stuff and get comfortable with that. So, Christy, you can really use this a ton and just love doing the awkward silence of people being there and continue to do it and really learn to love and enjoy it. So, again, resources, we have different resources that we will get to you in the chat box and go from there. Again, Courtney, Angie, and myself are really glad to help you with anything. And talk to your trainers. You have 2 more weeks left of new rep training. And so as you go through with that, you probably work with Tim and Mickey and some of the other ones there. They will be glad to answer any questions or pass you on to us. So just remember, you're not alone in all of this. Your district leader is there to help you. You have great reps that are around you that have gone through the whole process before. So learn from them, ask great questions, be a sponge and go and talk to them about that. And then reach out to us at the home office. Is what we're here for. We want to make your life easier so you can do business as quickly as possible and as easily as possible. That doesn't mean that we can help you get the quote system better, but we can try to help you get his resources as much as possible. Okay, it is 12:44 and 10 seconds, so we have 50 seconds left to wrap this thing up, and we might even be able to go early. Any other questions, comments, thoughts before we head off to the rest of our fantastic Friday and into a great weekend? Bueller? Anybody?
He's sick right now. No, but have a great Father's Day to all you fathers, though.
Thank you. Yep, happy Father's Day to everybody. Yeah, Jeremy, you got a question? Or are you just trying to do an emoji?
Was just doing the applause.
Okay.
Hit the wrap up. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. I like wrong buttons. Makes it fun. Courtney, anything to say before we jump off of here?
Nope. Have a great weekend, everybody. And to Stephen's point, happy Father's Day to the dads on the call.
Awesome. And to those of you who I didn't call on or hear from, you're welcome on this Friday. This nice gift to you. Next time, Jeanette, I'll get you. I promise. So, okay. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Thankful for you. Thanks for staying on, Van. Drive safe.
Oops.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.